and way too physical. Way too physical. The NBA allows physicality in the finals when the season's at the very end. But they want to keep their players healthy for the regular season and early rounds of the playoffs. Why hurt your content? Adam Silver in the league now. You get to the finals, that's a man's game. Wemby, good luck. WNBA regular season is officiated like UFC. There's no eye gouging, but almost everything else. So, and she didn't have great communications with players, according to players. So last night, Caitlin Clark, there's a hand to her throat.
Something snapped the moment that collision happened. But it was not just the hit that sent the basketball world into chaos. Outrage spread. Colin Cowherd unleashed a fiery reaction, accusing everyone from the officials to the league of looking the other way, while Caitlin Clark took another hard blow. Was this simply a tough basketball play, or evidence of a much bigger problem? And what happened next made the debate even louder.
We have a generational talent and a WNBA superstar who had two cheap shots right there that weren't called. And I just say, again, absolutely unacceptable.
Steph, do you think that the league needs to look into how Caitlin Clark is defended or how she's officiated going forward?
I mean, we spent all offseason looking at officiating. All offseason. And I still say the one thing that we keep asking for is consistency.
The WNBA has spent the last 2 years trying to answer one question that should have had the easiest answer in sports. Yet somehow, it has managed to turn that simple question into a never-ending debate.
Paranoid, weird, insular league. And everybody, I mean, older golfers were a little annoyed and irritated when young Tiger Woods got all the love and all the coverage. But about, a couple of months later, they went like, hey, wait, the purses have gone up. We're all getting richer, and they got over it. They got over the Tiger thing pretty quickly. WNBA can't get over this. And people are very critical of commission.
How do you protect, promote, and celebrate the biggest attraction your league has ever seen? After another controversial game involving Caitlin Clark, that conversation exploded once again. And this time, one of the biggest voices in sports media completely lost patience. Colin Cowherd did not hold back, and when he finished speaking,
you don't have an 11-year, $77 billion contract. You are building the league. You just reached an incredible collective bargaining agreement. You understand they did a great job with that. The league is growing, and it's reaching some of its aspirations, no doubt, but there's still a lot more work to be done. Don't get in the way of the cash cow. You don't sit up there and pave a way for her and don't compete. Nobody's implying that. But you certainly ride that tidal wave of popularity and use it to your advantage to build the game, not compromise and hurt the game by taking her out.
What made Cowherd's comments resonate with so many people was not simply that he criticized one officiating decision. He argued that the latest controversy was merely another chapter in a pattern that has followed Caitlin Clark ever since she entered the league. His message was blunt, saying the WNBA continues to drive into a wall at full speed with Caitlin Clark while refusing to recognize what she has already done for the league.
They just keep driving into a wall at full speed with Caitlin Clark. They now have a commemorative poster of 30 years of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's not on it. And it's not just like an ode to the veterans that started the league. Paige Beckers and Angel Reese are on it. And Caitlin Clark's not. You guys, when she broke into the league, you moved her road games to bigger arenas to accommodate the...
That is an extraordinary statement when it comes from someone who has spent decades covering every major American sport. Cowherd has praised commissioners like Roger Goodell, Adam Silver, and Rob Manfred for understanding one simple business principle. When someone dramatically increases interest in your league, you do not make life harder for that person. You protect the product, because protecting your stars ultimately benefits everyone involved. The timing of his criticism could hardly have been more explosive. During the Fever's matchup, another physical sequence involving Clark quickly spread across social media. Fans immediately began debating whether officials had once again allowed unnecessary involving contact around Clark's upper body as dangerous, and expressing frustration that replay reviews still failed to produce what she believed were the correct calls. That instantly shifted the conversation away from basketball strategy and toward officiating. Instead of talking about offensive execution, defensive rotations, or playoff positioning, everyone was suddenly analyzing slow-motion replays frame by frame, like they had all earned honorary law degrees in basketball officiating. Overnight, sports fans have become detectives.
Last night with these two teams tangling in back-to-back games, because it got heated 3 days ago when I watched it, was absolutely unacceptable, egregious. Stephanie White used the word, and just unfortunate that, you know, a situation, two situations could go untethered, if you will, and the result was the result.
Give them one controversial replay and suddenly everyone becomes an expert witness. Somewhere out there is probably someone breaking down video with the intensity of a NASA engineer trying to land a spacecraft on Mars. Yet beneath all the internet chaos sits a legitimate question. Has the WNBA found the right balance between allowing physical basketball and protecting its marquee players? Cowherd believes the answer is no. He argued that the league has confused toughness with inconsistency. Physical basketball has always been part of the sport, and nobody expects stars to receive special treatment simply because they attract viewers. Michael Jordan, absorbed league, understands there is a line between competitive physicality and unnecessary risk that he compared the WNBA's regular season officiating to how the NBA approaches its own schedule. During the NBA Finals, officials often allow more contact because the stakes are enormous, and players expect a more physical style. Throughout much of the regular season, however, officials generally emphasize player safety and offensive flow, because the league has every incentive to keep its stars healthy for the long season ahead.
But I think that there's a petty jealousy, and she's a straight white basketball player. And she is not being treated with any sort of respect whatsoever.
If you keep this up, there won't be no WNBA.
Wow. That's the non-overreaction.
Yo, if Caitlin Clark said, you know what, man, I'm done, y'all. I'm going to take my rich, successful self somewhere else, it would be a wrap. What would they do? What would they do? If Caitlin Clark said, you know what, today I'm done with the WNBA, where would the WNBA be? It would be over.
Whether fans agree with that comparison or not, it highlights the larger concern if every game becomes a wrestling match disguised as basketball. Eventually the conversation shifts away from great performances and toward controversial whistles. Ironically, that is exactly what has happened repeatedly whenever Caitlin Clark plays. Instead of discussing another dazzling pass or another deep three-pointer that seems to ignore basic geometry, much of the public conversation revolves around whether officials missed another call. That is hardly the type of publicity any league wants. Cowherd then turned his attention toward Beckers and Angel Reese appeared in the campaign. That decision immediately generated questions online. Supporters argued the anniversary celebrated the league's broader history rather than simply rewarding popularity. Critics countered that omitting the player who has helped produce unprecedented attendance, television ratings, and media attention made little marketing sense. Cowherd clearly fell into the second group. His frustration centered less on the artwork itself and more on what he viewed as another missed opportunity to embrace the player, bringing millions of additional eyeballs to the sport. His argument was built around numbers rather than emotion.
What do you think of the play, the suspension, the reviews, all of it?
I just think it's so tough because the WNBA is physical. And when I think about a loose ball, I know that I've died at the bottom of some loose balls over the neck, but it happens so fast that I don't know, but for me, it was like, it's hard to distinguish a loose ball. Like, are you going to look at all the loose balls? Because, like I said, I died a couple times on loose balls before. I'm not going to even hold you.
That's relatable because you were my vet. I was a rookie. On that same team was Alyssa Thomas. And as teammates, when there was a loose ball, I know I came up struggling with Alyssa because when she sees red in those situations, she's going to do whatever it takes to try to...
Since Clark entered the WNBA, attendance has surged across multiple markets whenever Indiana visits. Several teams have moved fever games into larger arenas to accommodate increased demand. Television audiences have consistently climbed whenever Clark appears, often outperforming other nationally televised games. Those are measurable facts, not internet speculation. Cowherd suggested the WNBA should recognize a similar opportunity instead of allowing endless controversy. To dominate the headlines, whether that criticism is completely fair remains open to debate. The WNBA today features remarkable talent across the board. Asia Wilson continues building one of the greatest careers the league has ever seen. Breanna Stewart remains one of basketball's most complete players. Nafisa Collier refuses to care about fairness. Fans decide what they watch. Networks care about ratings. Sponsors follow audiences. That is simply how professional sports operate. The challenge for the WNBA is finding a way to celebrate its entire roster, while also acknowledging that Caitlin Clark has undeniably become one of its biggest commercial success stories. That balancing act has proven far more complicated than anyone imagined.
They are beating her because they are anti-white and they hate that she's better than them. I don't see how this could possibly be an accident. Caitlin Clark getting punched in the throat. This has happened a bunch of times to Caitlin Clark. It's been going on for years, actually, and we've shown compilations where they're just literally beating the crap out of her. Why isn't anything being done about it?
Some believe the criticism directed toward the league has become excessive. Others believe the league has not responded strongly enough to repeated controversies involving Clark. What almost nobody disputes, however, is that every Caitlin Clark game now feels like a national event. That alone demonstrates how dramatically the landscape has changed. Just a few years ago, casual sports fans rarely spent entire news cycles debating WNBA officiating. Now, television hosts, former athletes, podcast personalities, and millions of fans dissect individual possessions as though playoff series depend on them. In one sense, that represents tremendous progress. People cannot passionately debate a league they are not watching. The increased attention inevitably